Global Affairs 2025. Secrecy, Security, Politics, and the Battle for Narratives. In a fractured world, power is no longer measured in tanks or treaties but in perception, legitimacy, and control. Putin's obsession with secrecy. Russian President Vladimir Putin's extraordinary security protocols illustrate how secrecy has become a tool of power. Reports that his bodyguards collect and return his urine and feces during foreign trips may sound absurd, but intelligence experts say it prevents adversaries from analyzing his health. For Moscow, this level of control is about more than privacy. It is about projecting invulnerability. Just as Russia conceals Putin's biology, it conceals its economic fragility, masking weakness behind the image of strength. Obi's endorsement as Nigeria's reformist hope. On the other side of the spectrum, transparency is creating momentum. Global research outfit EvenQI recently endorsed Peter Obi as the strongest candidate for Nigeria's 2027 election. Praised for fiscal discipline and credibility, Obi has become a symbol of reform in a country plagued by corruption and insecurity. His rise underscores a wider global shift. Reformist leaders in Africa and the global south are gaining international attention as credible alternatives to stagnant political establishments. Netanyahu's fiery analogy. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu chose rhetoric as his weapon. In response to calls for Palestinian statehood, he asked, "If terrorists butchered 15,000 in the UK, would you say we should give them a state next to London?" The remark framed Israel's security fears in terms Western allies might understand. Yet critics warn it risks alienating partners by inflaming tensions. Netanyahu's words highlight the universal challenge of balancing national security with diplomacy and justice. Pakistan's challenge at the UN. At the United Nations, Pakistan raised its own challenge, arguing that it is unacceptable for every person on UN terrorism sanction lists to be Muslim. Islamabad's envoy warned that this unfairly stigmatizes one religion and undermines counterterrorism credibility. The intervention reflects frustration with perceived Western double standards. Alongside Netanyahu's analogy, it underscores the clash of global narratives. One emphasizing security above all, the other demanding fairness and inclusivity. Ukraine strikes at Russia's oil empire. In Europe, Ukraine has escalated the war by attacking the backbone of Russia's economy, its oil empire. After years of enduring blackouts from Russian strikes on power grids, Kyiv is retaliating with drone attacks on refineries and depots. The strikes weaken Moscow's ability to fund its war and demonstrate that modern conflicts extend to economic infrastructure. Western allies quietly support the campaign, though risks remain. Disruptions to Russian oil reverberate through global markets, testing the resilience of energy supplies worldwide. Christians under siege in Nigeria. Closer to home in Africa, jihadist groups continue to unleash terror on Christian communities in northern and middle belt Nigeria. Villages are raided, churches burned, and civilians killed or forced to renounce their faith. Thousands now live in overcrowded displacement camps, traumatized and displaced. Human rights groups call the violence religious persecution, yet the Nigerian government's response has been criticized as inadequate. The crisis links Nigeria to wider global debates. Like Israel's fight against terror or Pakistan's demand for fairness, it shows how extremism shapes national and international politics alike. The common threats. Despite differences in geography and scale, these crises share three themes. Control. Putin's secrecy reflects the Kremlin's obsession with image management. Reform. Obi's endorsement shows how credibility and transparency resonate globally. Security. Netanyahu's analogy, Pakistan's plea, Ukraine's strikes, and Nigeria's jihadist crisis all demonstrate the centrality of security in shaping global politics. Power today is no longer measured only in armies or alliances. It is also about narratives that influence international opinion and legitimacy. Conclusion. Narratives that shape the future. From Moscow to Abuja, Jerusalem to Kyiv, the defining battles of 2025 are as much about perception as they are about power. Secrecy, reform, rhetoric, fairness, economics, and survival each play a role in how nations project themselves and defend their people. The question for the international community is whether it can rise above cycles of retaliation and bias to confront extremism and injustice fairly, or whether it will remain fractured by competing narratives. What is certain is that the stories being told today will shape tomorrow's global order. In the battle for legitimacy, perception is the most powerful weapon of all.